Hello, welcome back to Christina's Knitting Catch-Up. It's been a few years. I'll get you caught up on what's been happening and then I'll show you some knitting and talk about some stuff I've been up to. So I think last time I did a podcast was maybe 2017 or 2018, and back then I was living in Norway with my husband, just the two of us, and since then we moved back to Canberra in 2019, about midway through 2019. We bought a house here in Canberra, and 2020 we had our daughter Lydia, and she's now 3. She just turned 3 last week, and just this year in April I had a little boy, Frederick. So we have a little family now, family of 4. And as such, you know, my time is a little bit limited now. I also have a job as a teacher. I'm a high school teacher. I was teaching when I was in Norway too, but now I have my qualification and I'm doing all the teaching now in the high school. So I'm still teaching music, of course, musician. So that's what my life is like now. I'm on maternity leave all of this year though. So I start back at work in January, late January, or maybe February. I'll find out. I'll figure that out. And the little boy will be going to daycare. My little girl is in daycare 2 days a week, and she is with her grandparents one other day and with my mum the other day. And she's with me on Friday. So today's Thursday, September the 28th, I think. My watch is out of batteries. It's just decoration. And yeah, some exciting things are happening. And I would like to just start by talking about knitting. And I'm recording this on Ngunnawal land, and that's an acknowledgement I should make. So since it's been like 5 years since I podcasted, I don't know, I've done quite a lot of knitting, and I don't have it all to show you because some things I knit and I've since already given away or something, and I've got quite a few children's things to show you that I've been knitting. It's a bit hot today, so I'm not wearing any knitwear. I'm wearing my They Might Be Giants t-shirt. This one's a good one. I have a lot of They Might Be Giants t-shirts. Maybe you'll get through all of them. But why don't I start with some things that I've knitted for my daughter, and something I knitted for me. And yeah, I'll start with the oldest project. So this one I actually started, I think, while I was in Norway, and this is my Hexipuff quilt. You see that? And this is made from sock yarn, and it's from socks that it's basically all scrap yarn. A few mini skeins, but mostly scrap yarn, and I could tell you about a lot of these yarns. Some hand dyed by me. That one is hand dyed by me. I made that for, I think I made that for my brother. A few lovely sock yarns in here. A lot of these sock yarns don't have socks that go with them anymore because they've since worn out and been thrown away. But I've still got these socks. Anyway, this is a lovely project, and the quilt is made of these little hexagons that are actually stuffed with a tiny little bit of wool each. So it's 3-dimensional, quite puffy. And this is, it's small, right? It's only little. I think it gets a little bit bigger every time I wash it, but it's quite small, and it's just perfect for laying on the ground and putting a baby on. My baby is almost 6 months old now, so he's still rolling around on the floor, not crawling yet, so it's good. And I seamed these in kind of rows, so they have these gaps in between each Hexipuff. Yeah, and it's lovely and squishy. And the nice thing about it being sock yarn is that it just goes in the washing machine. I wash it on a wool cycle so it doesn't get too damaged. it just goes in the washing machine when Frederick might poo on it, for example, which does happen because it's important to have some no nappy time. And I do my best to protect my things, but sometimes it doesn't work. So anyway, that's my Hexie Puff quilt. Bit annoying that that one is diagonal, but oh well. Anyway, I've still got a lot of Hexie Puffs that I haven't put in this. So maybe when I have grandchildren, I'll make it bigger for the grandchildren. Because like I had been meaning to make this for a long time when I just had the Hexie Puffs in a bag. And I've still got some in a bag, but anyway, it seems like a lot of work for a small rug. Each Hexie Puff takes me, or took me, like 25 minutes to half an hour to make. So I just hate to think how much work is in this. I just try not to think about it too much. So that is my Hexie Puff quilt. Okay, here's a couple of things that I made for my daughter. This one I made for her when she was 1, so 2 years ago. Actually, she must have been a bit older because it was going, wait on, it was going into winter. Maybe she was younger, I don't know. She was walking, sort of, almost walking. Yeah, I think she must have been about like 8 months old. Anyway, this is the Anders jumper. And I've made this for a few babies that weren't mine before I made this for Lydia. But it's just a lovely color work jumper. And this particular one is made out of, I think, Bluebell, Peyton's Bluebell. It's 5-ply or sport weight. I'm not particularly good at Fair Isle because I knit with my yarn held in my right hand, and I basically let go of my needle every time I throw the yarn around the needle. Yeah, I actually made a hat that goes with this. I'll show it another time, or maybe not. It's just this pattern around the hat. Yeah, it's just that, which is quite cute. And Lydia wore this for maybe 1.5 years, 2 years. A long time she wore it. And I think I made a mistake at the top here. I did seed stitch or moss stitch instead of ribbing because I misread the pattern. Instead of saying on the pattern, work 5 rows in 1 by 1 rib or something, which would have been great, it told you to, you know, knit 1, purl 1 all round, and then on the other row do the opposite, except I must have had 1 extra stitch. So instead of winding up like ribbing, it wound up 1 off, which is moss stitch. I do quite like it though, so that's interesting. So that's the first Anders I made for her. And then when she was a bit bigger, I made her the next size up. And this one I made in an 8-ply or DK weight yarn. And this yarn is Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury 8-ply in a nice bubblegum fuchsia kind of color. Lydia loves pink, unsurprisingly. And the contrast is also pink, but it's very, very light pink. So that's her second Anders. And I actually did the ribbing for the neck this time, as you can see. It's a very nice jumper to make for kids. It's just a raglan top-down jumper with color work. It's really great. I think it's top-down. Yes, it's top-down, pretty sure. And the snow is really cute. So next I've got to make Frederick one, or maybe he can just wear this. Not sure. Boys can wear red. So that's a couple of Anders jumpers. Now, moving on to something for me. So this jumper I made over a year ago, a bit over a year ago maybe. Or maybe I can't remember when I made it, whatever. And this is the gingerbread. I think it's by Espace Tricot. And it's just a very simple top-down raglan round neck jumper. I think it's meant to be a little bit cropped. It's shortish, but I wouldn't call it cropped, this one. I think I made it a bit longer. I used all the yarn. The yarn I used, oh, back to front, the yarn I used is by Rosehip Island by Hannah, and I used some of her 4-ply merino yarn. I think the color was Pinot, and a complementary mohair. So you can see that the Pinot is a lovely deep purpley, pinky red color, like Pinot wine, and the mohair is a lighter purple. When I bought them, I thought they would be more similar, and so I was a bit worried about how they would go together, but I actually really like the look of the lighter mohair with the darker merino. I think it's beautiful. And this logo, this is the back, that's by, I think, Kylie and the Machine, and I tend to put those in my jumpers literally so I can see which is the back. I don't like the labels that have like swear words in them and stuff. There's a lot of those. Doesn't look great with a t-shirt underneath, but you can see that, whoop, there's my jumper. Nice baggy jumper. It was good while I was pregnant. It was good while I was not pregnant anymore, but still a bit weighty. And now it's too hot, so can't wear that now. But this has been my most worn jumper. It is so soft and snuggly. I fell in love with mohair when I made this. It was my first mohair garment, and I've made a few more since then, which are not here right now, and I'll show you next time. Anyway, that's the gingerbread, I think. So that is super lovely. Okay, a couple of things I've made for my baby boy. I'll show you his baby blanket to start with, and then I'll show you a little cardigan I made for him. So here's his baby blanket, and this is a square, and it's a stockinette square in the middle. There's, sorry about my creaking chair, it's got moss stitch around the edge here, and then there you pick up and there is a border with cables, a little bit of eyelet lace, and a picot edging. So there's the corner. It does tend to ruffle a little bit, as you can see. Like the picked up stitches they're a little too many for the square, but oh well, that's fine. It works really well as a baby blanket. And I made an identical one to this for my daughter when she was in my tummy. So hers is this color. I'll show you that another day because I have a couple of things to show you to do with that. Anyway, so this is Frederick's baby blanket. It's about this big. What is that? About a meter square, approximately. It took me 4 lifetimes to go around the edge in this cable pattern, honestly. And this is also made in Bendigo Woolen Mills 8-ply luxury yarn. And this color, I think, something about pumpkin or pumpkin spice, or which is a funny thing to call it because in Australia we don't really do pumpkin spice. Anyway, so that's that lovely baby blanket, and I think it's called the Sleeping Beauty baby blanket, and I found it on Ravelry, and I had to do a little bit of digging to find the actual pattern because the designer doesn't release it anymore. I had to find it from, I think I had to find it from a knitter who had made it and made some adjustments to the pattern, I think. Anyway, it wasn't too hard to figure out. I found it eventually, and it's really pleasant to knit this. I hate that little nubbly bit in the yarn came forward. It always does, doesn't it? It always comes forward. Anyway, that's his baby blanket for Frederick, and we used that a lot because he was born in April, and so it was going into winter. And then I made him a matching little cardigan, and this one has been worn a lot, and he's, I think, finally grown out of this. So this is the Arnica baby cardigan. And as you can see, the contrast I have here is the same as Lydia's blanket, which is cute. Also Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury 8-ply. And this has 3 rows of, not 3 rows, 3, you know, sections of colour work. It's with slip stitches and knits and pearls. And the first one I got wrong, but I liked it. So I did that again on the 3rd row. So this middle one I think is correct. I think they're all meant to look like that. I've since made this for somebody else's new baby and it's gone now. I sent it off and I think I got it right that time. So these buttons actually a friend made for me a long time ago. She made them. Doesn't want to focus, but they're made of resin and they're a little bit glittery, which is so cute. So that's Frederick's little baby cardigan. I find cardigans are better than jumpers for tiny babies because they can't lift up their head. You can't sit them up to pull their jumper over their head. And it's best also to have really wide sleeves and very generous cuffs because they're little pudgy, floppy hands. They're so unhelpful when you're trying to get them dressed. You need something with a wide diameter so that you can just shove it through and without breaking the baby, which I never did because I'm very gentle. But I do find babies to be quite unhelpful when you're getting them dressed, and in fact toddlers. So that's my Arnica, Arnica, baby cardigan. Now I've got a couple of jumpers that I've made for the kids, and these match. So this is lovely. This pattern is called Roundabout. I forget who it's by, honestly. But this is Lydia's Roundabout. Isn't it great? It's so great. It's a bit pilly now because she's like worn it a lot. I think it's got some paint on it from daycare. Like, the childcare doesn't care if you've got beautiful knitwear on. You're going to do painting, and that's fine. So anyway, this is knit in Knit Picks Swish DK because I wanted to buy a skein of, or a ball, sorry, of each of the contrast colours, but I didn't want to buy like a huge ball. So they come in 50-gram balls, and that was plenty. So I got 7 contrast colours for Lydia's one. What is that muck on it? This needs a wash. Ugh, I'll show you the back. How about that? That's a bit cleaner. And the cute thing about this is that it has a split hem so that it's nice and easy to get on and off. It's kind of A-shaped, A-line shaped, so it has increases down the sides. It's not just straight up and down. Yeah, and it's got these beautiful stripes. Top down raglan, got a label in at the back too. And she looks so cute in it. She's just the loveliest kid. Okay, and yep. And then I knit Frederick's. Hers is a size 4, even though she's 3, and it fits just fine. So here's Frederick's in a size 1, and he's 5 months old, so, and it fits him. So I would say, and my kids aren't huge, like my kids are normal size kids. So I would say that this pattern tends to be a bit small because I got gauge, and the yarn is beautiful. Actually, it might even be a 5-ply pattern, and I knit it in 8-ply. So yeah, I would size up if I knit this. So for the little baby cardigans, jumpers, you only fit 6 stripes, not 7. So I took out the deep fuchsia color for his. And of course I used the grey for the background instead of the pink. Not that boys can't wear pink, I just want to be able to tell my children apart. So there they are together. And see those stripes match up. Gee, Lydia's does look dirty, doesn't it? Ooh, never mind. She's a kid, that's what they do. But as a mum, I should clean it probably. So they look absolutely adorable when they wear them together. But like I said, it's summer now. It's only the first month of spring and we're having 35 degrees next week. So that's a bit warm. So I've got a lot of other things to show you that I have made, but I'm not going to show them today. I'll do them another time. So I'll move on to some things that I am in the process of making. I'll start with my new gingerbread jumper. So I liked my old one so much that I'm making another one. I don't really like the needles I'm using, but anyway, this is my new one. And I'm knitting a size up from last time, not because that one is too small, but because I can't seem to get the right gauge and it's winding up a little bit tighter. So hopefully, well, it's very stretchy actually. Let's hope this is all right. But isn't that lovely? I went for the same thing, a light colored mohair and a darker colored yarn. I love this color blue. It's not denim, it's not turquoise. It's just a beautiful blue. It's Quince & Co. Quince & Co. Finch in the color Delft. And it is a fingering weight or 4-ply weight yarn. I might need to get some more of it, but it is just such a nice blue color. Got a touch of gray in it, and the mohair I'm using, I can't pronounce that, so Bichet and Boucher, Le Petit Silk and Mohair is what it is. And I think I got these from Yarn Trader, which is a online shop. I think I've got a peg in here for some reason, probably to do with my daughter. So that's that. We'll see how it goes. I haven't knit on it in quite a while, so yeah, that fits. Haven't knit on it in quite a while because, well, I've been working on something else. So that is my gingerbread, and it's in a little bag that I made from some leftover wool fabric. It's not interfaced, so it's really squishy. I don't know if I like that or not. Next thing I'm working on is a pair of socks. And this is from Turtle Pearl Yarns, which I think I got off Etsy, and she's just got this lovely rainbow, which you can tell is a mirror image kind of rainbow. So it goes from there, wait on, yeah, so you can kind of see it's a mirror. That's sort of a central stripe, and that's a central stripe. And what I'm doing is I knit a toe. I like to knit bottom up. I'm going to knit pretty much all of this, knit some ribbing for the top, and then I'll do an afterthought heel in a contrast color. I've been doing afterthought heels a little bit more because I'm busy these days and my time is not my own when you have children, small children. And if I'm needed at any time, I have to drop what I'm doing. And I find if I'm trying to count up to a heel or measure every 5 seconds to get to a heel, it's just, the odds are that I'm going to be called away at the most inconvenient time for that. So I'm just going to knit this all the way up. And then when I have a day when, I don't know, I've got my mum around or something to help with the baby, then I'll measure and put in my heel, and I'll be able to cut both socks at once. Yeah, so I think I'll knit both socks before I do the heels. There's the next skein. It came as 2 50-gram skeins, and it came with a mini skein as well, which is this purple color, or roughly that purple color. And I love these ChiaoGoo needles. I'm a bit late to the ChiaoGoo party, but boy, they're great. They're so smooth. So slick. And I love the nickel plating so that they're not grippy. I used to love the Addy lace needles, and I still love my Addy lace interchangeable kit because they're nickel plated, but I don't like see, I've got Addies in this gingerbread. And two things about Addy lace that I don't like. I think they're actually discontinued now, so that's good maybe. But see that they're brass and they're quite grippy. And if you've got slightly sweaty hands when you knit, then it's really hard to get round. And another weird thing about brass needles is they smell like metal. They smell like metal. And I don't mind it, but my husband finds it disgusting. So that's interesting. I think if you knit with them a lot, it stops smelling so much. But like I haven't knit on this in a while, so. And now the last thing I'm working on, it's a little bit complicated. I'll just grab the pattern. Here it is. So this is from a Peyton's book from the 1970s. Here's the book, The Romantics in Bluebell. And it's, like I said, for bluebell yarn. And I am making this here jumper with the high neck and the raglan. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Here's a bigger picture. And she's not wearing a bra, but don't worry, I will. Isn't she beautiful? And I've made my raglan a little bit narrower. So it's bottom up, which is hard, and it's 5-ply, and it's cabled and rib, and it's taken me more than a year to get where I am, but I'm on a deadline now. I really want to finish it. So I've done the body, the front and the back. I knit the front and the back in one piece, even though in the pattern it's seamed rather. So I've knit them together, then you split from here up, and then I followed the written instructions for that. And I am about up to the armpit. I've just started the decreases, the raglan decreases on the sleeves. So I hope it'll go whoosh and I'll get up to here really quickly, and then I'll be able to do the neck and finish. The instructions are quite bewildering sometimes because in old-fashioned patterns, they were trying to save space in the magazine. So it's just very brief, and you need to really have your thinking hat on to get it right. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. Now I'll show you the back and front, which I've done. Oh, it's inside out. Let's put it right way out. And this is in Peyton's Bluebell, so the correct yarn for the project. Here's the front. No, that's the back. So because it's ribbed, it's really sucked in, but it is quite big enough. So it doesn't look like anything, does it? So here it is. I can't really hold it up. Try. There. So that's the part I've done. I really hope it works out because I've put so much time into it, and now if it doesn't work out, I'll just be so distraught. The sleeves I've been knitting 2 at a time, but flat, because I couldn't figure out, like I said, my time is not my own, and I just could not figure out how to put 2 circular things on a circular needle at 2 at a time. I used to do socks 2 at a time on the same needle, and I cannot remember how I did that, so couldn't do it. So I did them flat, and these also have the cable at the bottom, and I've just cast off my 2 stitches at the edge for the underarm seam. So there, that's coming along. So I really hope to get it done soon. So that's what I've been working on. And I've got lots coming as well. I went a bit mad earlier in my maternity leave and I bought a lot of yarn. And I think what I was trying to do was buy myself some time to knit. And unfortunately, buying yarn does not equate to buying time. And the baby required just as much time as he did before I bought the yarn, unfortunately. Now, he's lovely. He's a lovely little fella. I don't begrudge him any time. But I was just, you know, I think early motherhood, whether you've got 1 kid or 2, is a hard time. And I went a bit mad. I'm better now. He's always been a lovely, lovely baby, and I've been very lucky in that regard. So the other news is that I'm going to restart my yarn dyeing business, and I've been doing a whole lot of yarn dyeing in the past few days, weeks, and the plan is to reopen my Etsy shop at in the middle of November at this stage. I'm going to put my yarn into a arts and crafts show at my church, and that is early November. I'm then going away for a couple of weeks, and then when I come back, I hope to look at what I still have left over from the arts and crafts show and open up my Etsy shop. And so far I have dyed up 7 repeatable colorways, and I think I'm going to keep it to that number for the time being, and see how we go with those, see what's popular, and I'll probably add some more colors as we go on. And it looks like they will be dyed to order, so I will have my listings up on Etsy and you'll be able to order them, and then I will go ahead and dye them so that you get a batch that matches if you want that. So far I've dyed 4-ply merino or fingering weight merino, 8-ply merino or DK weight merino, and lace weight silk mohair, because this jumper has really made me fall in love with knitting with mohair and merino held together. And I've got a few other projects lined up where I knit with mohair and merino. And so that's what I chose to do, merino and mohair. And my sock yarn came today. I just bought it. Actually, I bought it at the same time as the other stuff, but it only came today because it was on back order. So I will also do some sock yarn. I do not plan to do any self-striping sock because that is too labor intensive, and I would get one skein done in 2 hours, and I honestly don't know how the self-striping dyers do it. They must have a system, but I sure have no idea what it is. Maybe they use sock knitting machines and then skein it up later. I have no idea how they do it. And that's for them, and good on them, and I will buy their yarn, but I'm not going to make it. So I'm going to look at doing some lovely, interesting yarns for the sock yarn. My mohair and merino is tonal yarn, so semi-solid, and I'm really happy with my colors. So what I'm going to do now is say goodbye and see you next time. And at the end of this video, I will put a kind of show and tell of all my yarns in my yarn dyeing studio, which is the studio in my mum's backyard because my house is tiny. Yeah, so that is all for today. I will make another video soon with more updates about yarns. I'll show you some sock yarn, and with a few more knitting things to show you as well. Like, there's a lot because I have not done this for a while. and I sit and knit every day after bedtime if I have the energy, especially on this jumper, which I really want to get done. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. Please feel free to leave questions, comments, feedback under the video, and check out my Instagram, which is Cutieful Yarns. That's my yarn dyeing one, and Cutieful Christina is my personal one if you want to be friends. So that's all for now, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Bye. This is my 4-ply merino yarn, and as you can see, I've got 7 colors so far. Here I've got my burgundy red, my bright red, rusty orange, golden yellow, forest green, bit of a weird looking skein there, deep blue and deep purple. And as you can see, it's a very normal sort of yarn. Nice twist there. And each of my skeins is a little bit tonal. So you can see that it's got some highlights and lowlights. You can see that particularly, I really like this blue. This blue's got some purple tones in it as well. And I just noticed before I started filming that there's a little friend down here. Where'd he go? There he is. See that little blue tongue lizard? Hello. So those are my 4-ply yarns. And these ones are my 8-ply yarns. And they're very similar to my 4-ply yarns, except they're a bit thicker and also the sun's come out. So that makes a little difference as well. But these are my 8-ply yarns, or my DK weight. Let's see if I can show you the type of yarn they are. This one's easy to see. I don't know if you can see the kind of yarn they are, the kind of twist they have. A bit different from the 4-ply. But these are dyed the same way, sometimes in the same dye bath, and as you can see, we've got some highlights and lowlights in the colour. You can hear that blue tongue lizard back there somewhere. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Bye. Mum won't be happy. I'll show you my mohair next. Now here are my mohair yarns, and these are sold in 50-gram skeins instead of 100 grams, and they're 420 meters each. There's my little card there. And the colors are a little bit lighter than they are on the merino, which is interesting. I'll show you some comparisons in a minute. But anyway, this is mohair silk yarn. Your 72% mohair, 28% silk. And it's beautifully light and soft and fluffy. It's very squishable. So those are my mohair colors. Okay, here I have my merino and my mohair together. This is just my 4-ply. Turned out the same on the 8-ply. You can see the little lizard down there in between those 2 pots. Anyway, so this is the color difference. They're dyed in the same pot. So the tones are the same. It's just how dark it came out was a little bit different on the mohair. The silk sometimes takes it up a bit differently to the mohair fibers as well. So there's my blue, purple, green, yellow, orange, red is pretty much the same, and the burgundy is a little lighter. I think these, when combined, are really, really pretty, actually, in a garment. Hold them together and you get this lovely light halo effect. So those are my mohair and merino yarns held together. And there's the little lizard in there. Oh dear, lizards.